Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be prepping for the IELTS speaking test.
Sounds good.
You know, in case you aren't familiar,
Mm-hmm.
IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System.
Right.
And it's super important if you want to study or work in a country where they, well, you know,
Speak English.
speak English.
Yeah.
We're going to be checking out this script from an online IELTS prep course
Cool.
called 7th Script IELTS High Score, Mastering IELTS Speaking, Daily Life, Dreams, and Exercise.
Catchy.
I know, right? But it's not just about passing a test.
No.
It's full of tips for better conversational English skills, too.
Oh, that's even better.
I know. So you can use these tips in everyday life.
Awesome.
You'll learn new words and even a few idioms you can, well,
You can use right away.
exactly like it. Okay, so let's dive in. It starts with a chat about daily routines, which, I mean,
Everyone has those?
right. Like the host, Sophia, mentions waking up at 7 a.m., like clockwork.
Like clockwork. That's a good one. It really gets across that idea of consistency,
Yeah,
which is really important for language learning.
totally.
The more you practice, the easier it gets. Just like any other habit, really.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like, I find that a solid routine helps me stay on track with, well, everything.
No.
Even just learning new English words.
Mhm.
Like, I like to gear up for the day with some coffee and a vocabulary review
Right.
and gear up for, well, that's a phrasal verb.
It is.
It means to prepare for something.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
Slip those phrases right in.
I love it.
What about you? How's your morning routine changed since you were a kid? And what are some of your go-to phrases for talking about your day in English?
Ooh, good questions.
I know, right? Let's switch gears a little and talk about something a bit more, well, dreamy.
Dreamy.
Dreams. Ethan, the other host, mentions that he has trouble remembering his dreams.
Happens to me all the time.
Really? You too?
Yeah.
It's so common. Dreams can be so mysterious. Some people think they can help us understand, our deeper thoughts and feelings, even the subconscious ones.
Right.
Like Sophia says, dreams are a window into the subconscious, which I love.
Me too.
But Ethan's not so sure about the whole, deeper meaning thing.
Interesting.
He says he's on the fence about whether dreams can, predict the future.
On the fence, huh?
Yeah, it's a really useful idiom for when you're uncertain about something.
I like it.
What about you? Do you think dreams mean anything special?
It's definitely a good question.
Do you have any particularly memorable dreams we want to hear?
Ooh, yeah, let us know.
Now, to keep our minds and bodies active, let's talk about exercise.
Yes.
So Sophia admits she's not a gym fan.
Right.
She prefers low-impact stuff like yoga and swimming,
Makes sense.
which is great for staying active without too much stress on your body.
Yeah, exercise is important for, well, everything.
It is.
Your physical health, your mental health.
For sure.
Especially for a big test like the IELTS.
So true. Ethan talks about using the phrasal verb work out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I work out 3 times a week.
Mhm.
And Sophia uses the idiom break a sweat.
Oh, I like that one.
Right. It basically means to get a good workout.
Yeah,
Like, I like to break a sweat by running in the morning.
there you go.
It's all about using more colorful language.
Absolutely.
So what about you? What are your favorite ways to stay active? How would you describe your exercise routine in English?
Good question. And remember,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to use those vivid verbs and idioms we've been talking about.
Right. The more descriptive, the better.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get into some, well, family stuff.
Oh, boy.
Celebrations,
Right?
gatherings.
We've all been there.
You know, right? Those sometimes awkward family get-togethers.
Yeah, right.
I think this is where different cultures can really,
Clash.
clash. And that's something the IELTS examiners will be looking at.
Makes sense.
Like how you handle those differences in conversations. So
Mhm.
Sophia talks about those relatives, the ones
The ones who...
who ask all those prying questions.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. Ethan has a perfect idiom for this. Get on someone's nerves.
Oh, tell me more.
You could say, my aunt's questions about my love life really get on my nerves.
Nice.
It's polite, but you still get your point across.
I like it.
What about you? What are your pet peeves at family gatherings? And how would you describe those celebrations in English to someone who's, not familiar with your culture?
Good questions.
Think about the traditions, the food,
The personalities.
yes, the personalities.
For sure.
Okay, let's talk IELTS tips.
Okay.
Ethan and Sophia emphasize this one thing for part 3 of the speaking test.
Balance.
Yeah, like showing both sides of an argument.
Oh, interesting.
It's really important to demonstrate critical thinking
Right.
and nuanced communication.
I see.
Like, for example, if you were asked about the importance of family dinners, you could say something like, family dinners are a great way to connect, but on the other hand, busy schedules can make it difficult for some families.
Oh, I see.
So you're acknowledging both sides.
That makes sense.
Using phrases like, on the other hand, or having said that, can really help tie those contrasting ideas together.
Very cool.
And it makes your English sound more sophisticated, too.
I like it. Yeah, it really does.
It shows you're thinking about the whole picture,
Exactly.
not just giving a one-sided answer.
Right.
Which is super important for part 3 of the IELTS speaking test,
Definitely.
where you'll be having, well, you know,
Deeper discussion.
deeper discussions.
Yeah.
But before we get there, let's rewind a bit and talk about the
earlier parts.
Yes, the earlier parts of the test.
Okay.
We've touched on some key vocab and idioms.
Right.
But what about the structure of the test itself? What can you expect when you actually,
Walk into the exam room.
walk into that exam room?
Good point. It's important to know the format so you don't get caught off guard.
No one wants that.
Remember, the IELTS speaking test has 3 parts.
Right.
Each one is designed to test different speaking skills.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
Starting with part 1, which is all about
Personal questions.
personal questions and everyday topics.
Yeah.
What are some key things to keep in mind for this section?
Well, Ethan and Sophia really emphasize giving full and detailed answers.
Even if the questions seem simple, that's where a lot of people, I think, make a mistake.
Yeah, they rush through it.
They do. They think it's just a warm-up.
Right.
But the examiner is watching how you express yourself right from the beginning.
Exactly. Every answer is a chance to show off your fluency and vocabulary.
Totally.
Instead of just saying, I enjoy reading, you could say something like, I love historical fiction because it lets me experience different time periods and cultures.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
It's all about the details.
It is.
Ethan also mentions that it's okay to pause before answering.
Yeah.
There's no need to, rush.
Right.
Take a moment to think.
Yeah. Gather your thoughts.
It shows you're considering the question carefully.
And it gives you time to plan your answer.
So true.
Make sure it flows smoothly.
I need that reminder sometime.
Me too.
I get flustered easily.
Sophia also talks about using linking words
Well, yeah.
to connect your ideas and make your answers more coherent.
Linking words are so important.
They really are. They're like bridges between your thoughts,
Ooh, I like that.
helping the listener follow along.
Yeah, makes sense.
Words like because, although, however, in addition, for example,
Those are good ones.
they can really make you sound more sophisticated.
They do. It's like weaving a tapestry with words.
I love that.
Okay, let's move on to part 2.
Okay.
This is the individual long turn.
Dun, 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 dun.
I know, right? A lot of people find this part the most
Challenging.
It's
definitely more complex.
Yeah, you have to speak for a longer time on a specific topic.
But it's also a great chance to show off your skills,
It is.
like organizing your thoughts,
Yeah.
using a wider range of vocabulary and grammar.
So how does part 2 actually work?
So you'll get a topic card with some prompts on it,
Okay.
and you have 1 minute to prepare a 1 to 2 minute speech.
1 minute? That doesn't seem like a lot of time.
It's not. So Ethan and Sophia have some tips for making the most of it.
Okay, tell me more.
Ethan suggests making a mind map or jotting down some notes.
To help structure your thoughts.
Yeah, it can be really helpful to stay focused.
Yeah, and make sure you hit all the key points.
Exactly.
Plus, it can help with those pre-speech jitters.
Oh, for sure.
Having a clear plan to follow.
Absolutely.
What about the content of the speech itself? Any tips for,
Making it engaging.
making engaging?
Sophia recommends using the prompts as a guide, but don't be afraid to bring in your own experiences
And opinions.
and opinions.
So,
Make it personal.
yeah, let your personality shine through.
The examiners want to see that,
They do. Remember, this is a conversation.
not a robot reciting facts.
Right. Ethan also suggests using time markers.
Time markers.
Yeah, like first, then after that, finally.
Oh, to signal how your ideas are progressing.
Exactly. Makes it easier to follow.
Like signposts along the way,
I like that.
guiding the listener through your story.
Okay, now for something that I think trips a lot of people up,
What's that?
grammar.
Ah, yes.
How important is grammatical accuracy in part 2?
It's definitely important,
It is.
But it's not the only thing they're looking at.
So it's not about being, like,
Perfect.
with zero mistakes.
It's more about the big picture.
The big picture.
Fluency, communication, vocabulary.
So don't get so caught up in speaking perfectly that you forget to actually,
Communicate.
Right. It's about showing you can hold a conversation.
Express your thoughts.
And engage with the examiner.
Exactly.
Okay, everyone, let's recap.
Okay.
We talked about giving full answers in part 1, using linking words to connect your ideas, and taking those pauses to think.
Important.
Then we covered part 2.
The individual long turn.
We talked about how to organize your ideas, using time markers, and even adding personal stories to make it more engaging.
Absolutely.
And remember, grammar is important.
It is.
But don't let it paralyze you.
The examiners are looking for overall fluency.
And clear communication.
Yes.
But our journey's not over yet.
Oh.
In the final part of this deep dive, we're going to tackle the most challenging
and rewarding
part of the IELTS speaking test. Part 3.
Exciting.
Get ready to flex those critical thinking muscles and dive into some,
thought-provoking discussions.
Thought-provoking discussions.
Let's go.
And we're back for the final part of our IELTS deep dive. Part 3.
Here we go.
You've aced the small talk in part 1.
Right.
You've nailed that structured speech in part 2. Now get ready for part 3.
Oh, yeah.
Where things get a little more,
intense.
Okay. This is where you really show off those critical thinking skills.
I see.
You'll be analyzing complex issues.
Okay.
And expressing yourself in a more sophisticated way.
Nice.
Think of it as a chance to have a real conversation with the examiner.
Oh,
You'll be discussing topics related to part 2.
Right.
But on a much deeper level.
That's like the grand finale.
It is. Ethan and Sophia give this one key piece of advice for part 3.
What's that?
Don't just state your opinion. You got to back it up.
Back it up
with reasons and examples.
Oh, okay.
Like, you can't just say, technology is good. You have to explain why you think that.
Right, like build a mini argument.
Exactly. The examiners want to see that you can,
think for yourself.
Think for yourself and explain your reasoning.
It's not about being right or wrong.
It's not.
It's about how you present your ideas.
Right. Like, if you're asked about the impact of social media, you could say something like, social media can be great for connecting with people, but it can also lead to isolation. Like, sometimes I feel less connected to my real-life friends when I spend too much time online.
That's a good example.
It's all about using personal experiences to make your answers more relatable. Sophia also talks about acknowledging other viewpoints.
Oh, that's important.
It is. It shows that you can see things from different angles.
Even if you don't agree.
Even if you don't agree. That open-mindedness is so important.
It is. It shows you can handle real-world conversations.
For sure. You can even respectfully challenge the examiner's perspective.
Really?
Yeah. Sophia encourages test takers to, offer alternative interpretations.
That's brave.
I know, right? But the examiners want to see that you're thinking critically, that you're not just,
repeating what everyone else says.
Exactly. They want to see your unique perspective.
It makes your answers stand out.
It does. So don't be afraid to share your own thoughts.
Even if they're a little different.
Even if they're different. And remember, keep using that diverse vocabulary and those complex grammatical structures.
This is your chance to shine.
It is. Don't hold back. Use those fancy words and idioms.
Go for it.
But hey.
What?
If you get a question in the law.
That stumps you.
That stumps me.
Yeah.
It's totally okay to ask for clarification.
Oh, good to know.
Or just take a moment to think.
Yeah, don't ramble.
It's much better to pause.
Than to get flustered.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's your final advice for our listeners getting ready for the IELTS speaking test?
I would say go in with a positive attitude.
Yeah.
And remember, it's a chance to show off all your hard work.
All that practice.
And connect with others through language.
I love that.
Yeah.
And remember, everyone, learning English goes way beyond any test.
It does.
Embrace every conversation as a chance to learn and grow.
Absolutely.
Keep practicing, keep exploring, and most importantly,
keep having fun with it.
That's a wrap on our IELTS speaking deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed it and learned a lot. Good luck on your IELTS journey, everyone.